I wanted to touch on something that you said earlier. You talked about relationship, and I want to know, especially in the church, what do you think the most important way to reach for that relationship is?
Relationship with like God or with people? Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Like I said, for me, it's not a struggle, but I do have to put in the effort. I do have to work for it, because relationships are important. We were created for relationships.
Right.
We were made for one another. I feel like that was the intention when God created humanity, was for a relationship, right? He wanted a relationship with his creation. And so we were made for relationships. You know, I believe that we are better together.
Right.
I believe that we are stronger together. I believe that, you know, you need me and I need you. And relationships are formed on a day-to-day life struggle, battle, whatever you want to say. It's one of those things that they also have to be intentional. You know, because how many times do we go to church with somebody and the only times we see them is like Sunday mornings and
Right.
But in order to have the relationship, it's like, hey, let's spend time outside of church. You know, which is why connect groups are important. Which is why fellowship after church is important. Not only that, but when you think of the Bible, when you think of the Book of Acts church, the Bible says that they literally did life together. They were at church, then they went house to house, breaking bread and reading the word. And they did that daily. And so what were they doing? They were building relationships.
That's good.
So I feel like if we want to be a Book of Acts church, then we must model after the Book of Acts church, right? And be intentional on building relationships. I want to know that somebody's in my corner. I want to know that when I'm struggling, when I'm down, when I fail, somebody's there to pick me up. And then I also want people to know that, hey, whenever you do stumble and struggle and are going through a battle, I want you to know that I'm here for you as well. That's what makes strong churches. That's what makes strong families. You know, you have strong families, you have strong churches. You have strong churches, you have a strong nation. Yeah. It's all about relationships.
What do you think the number one goal of the church is, or should be?
Oh, it should be reaching the lost.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's our mission. God has literally placed us for that. You know, we are to reach the lost, and for us to reach the lost, we have to be intentional about reaching the lost.
Right.
And building relationships with people to be able to make them feel like, hey, you are a part of this, or you can be a part of this. So that should be everything that we do, should be to reach the lost and reach people and bring them to the Lord and have that relationship with people.
Now, since you're talking about like reaching the lost, how would you say like you interact with people that you can kind of tell like don't reciprocate it or want it? Like, how would you work with someone like that? Or would you like
someone who's like defensive?
Or would you just wait because I believe that there's sometimes where it's like they're not ready, that the heart's not ready, you know? But like sometimes I can kind of get to a place where I'm like, I'm not talking to this person because this person don't want to talk to me. You know, like.
And are you talking about like talking to them about church or just talking to them in general?
It's hard because it's almost like every conversation that I have, I want to bring up church somehow. You know, like. So
sometimes you have to be in. Here's it's cliche, but I think it's good. People don't care about what you know until they know you care. Something like that. What is it, right?
Nice. Yeah.
They don't care about what you know until they know you care. That's what the saying is. And so there are moments where people literally, they don't care that we go to church. They don't want to know about God. They don't want to know what religion you are. They truly just don't, right? Again, and we're over here thinking, how can I get them to church, right? Which we need to. We're called to evangelize and all that. But to me, it starts with building that relationship, because when you meet somebody, their walls are going to be up because they already know you go to church. they already know who you are, or they should know, right? At your job, at school, wherever you may be, they should know who you are. And so that wall's already up. So for me, it's like, what do I have to do to bring that wall down? Okay. And it starts with, like you were asking, it starts with building that relationship, you know, knowing that you care about them, knowing that, hey, I'm a friend to you, knowing that I'm here for you. Because the time will come where they're going to need something from you, or they're going to have a need in their life. And guess who they're going to call? They're going to call the one they know that goes to church. They're going to call the one that knows they believe in God. Man, I'm going through, can you just pray for me? Yeah. Like, I'm going through a tough time at home. Would you pray for me? Then to me, it's like, oh, that wall is coming down. It's a perfect opportunity for me to come in. Right. But see, that trust is there. That's why I feel like connection groups are so important, is because we are able to bring people and take them outside of a church setting. Because when people come to church, again, their walls are up. They're like, I'm not. But when you bring them out and it's Taco Tuesday, and we're just having a dinner and we're just chilling and talking about whatever the case may be. Number one, they're seeing that we're normal people. Right. Right. Number two, we're just making them feel comfortable and making them feel like you truly belong here. And then we're establishing that relationship where they can be comfortable, where if I was to bring something else up about scripture or about God, they're more receptive to hearing it. Because now we're friends. Now we have that friendship. Now we have that relationship. Instead of just coming out of nowhere and smacking it with the book of Romans. Yeah, right. Like, it's like, whoa, yeah. I mean, it's like...
It's just hard.
It is hard.
Like, because I find myself like, I have nothing in common with you. Like, you know, like, it's just it's tough.
But here's the deal, man, is to me, it's just finding that one thing that is common. Whatever that may be.
And like, it does come to a point, because there's some people where I'm like, no, there's never going to be a way that I'm ever going to be able to talk to them, because I feel like, because like you said, they should know what you stand for, what you believe. And like, in me doing so, I feel like they automatically think like, oh, you're going to judge me. Oh, you don't like me. Oh, you're a Christian. Oh, you're this and that, you know? And then I get kind of to a place where I'm like, I'm not going to say anything, because I don't want them to perceive me as judgmental. And I feel like that is the wrong way, because I've noticed it kind of trial and error. Sitting there and doing nothing, it's like, oh, this person doesn't care. Like they're just coming and like, you know, and it's like, but the more even if it's about school or just about what we're doing there, like why are we in the same place? Like, we're doing this thing. Yeah. Like, it does lead to conversation and more openness. And because I'm a very like open person. I'm very transparent. I'm just like, oh, you want to hear about my life? Like, get ready. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost just like
yap.
And like, I feel like for me, and maybe I can be completely off, because I think with certain people it can be, like, I'm more vulnerable with people, because I want people to feel like they can be vulnerable with me, because not everyone is that way. Right. And it's like, I'm very like, wear my heart on my sleeves kind of person. Like, you can kind of just tell with me if I'm upset, or even, but I feel like some people can read my face a lot of times. Yeah. But even then though, like, never mind, I was gonna get into the thing, like, some people look at me and they're like, are you upset? I'm like, I was happy until you said that. Like, I was good.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I think that's when, like, I know last Sunday we were talking at Jason's Deli with Pastor, and Pastor started talking about, like, every time he talks to people, he always prays for their heart, the doors of their heart to be opened. So you could, you know, be friends with them, connect with them. And that's when, like, I always pray, every time I go to work, I always pray, God, lead me to somebody who needs you. Lead me to somebody so I could not just lead them to you, but form that relationship, form that friendship with, you know. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's good. I like, with that, like, for me, I like cold approaches. I like when the person doesn't know me, but that's hard. It's harder to get. That. It's harder to get to connect with someone that you don't know, and like, it's harder to get them to church because you have no relationship with them. But for me, I'm like, you don't know nothing about me. I don't know nothing about you.
And you know, and those moments are also needed, because again, we're called to preach the gospel and evangelize, and so when we're out, our prayer should be, Lord, lead us to people, and we should be bold enough and unashamed to be able to say, hey, you may not know me, I don't know you,
Right.
but come to church. Like, we ought to be able to hit the streets
Right.
and bring people to church.
Mm.
We ought to be able to just make cold calls and
Yeah.
and say, hey, why don't you come and share the gospel with them. That should be part of that as well, because you never know who you run into
Right.
that's gonna need you. That's why I always feel like, man, we got to be careful how we treat people when we're out at the grocery store, you know, or that waitress that's taking 15 minutes to bring your drinks and you want to go off on her. What if she's been hiding in the bathroom crying her tears out because of things that she's dealing with at home, and then they come to you and you're rude to her because she hasn't brought you your drink?
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's more important than, you know, the direct conversation with somebody, but how do we look outside? Like, if somebody is observing me talking to somebody, or, you know, if I'm just in the room with somebody else, how do they respond to who I am as a person? Because like you said, I don't want to be that guy that's going to be rude to somebody, that's going to treat somebody wrong, because they don't know me and I don't know them. But what if they know something about me, or if they know I'm a Christian? I don't want them to get a negative perspective of us as a whole, because you know, Christians already have kind of a negative connotation to them. And if I'm the rude person in the room, or if I'm the person that's upset at the waiter, all she's going to think about is that, oh, so that's how all of them are, you know? I don't want to be that person that ruins Christians for them as a whole, because it's so easy.
Wow.
My-
That's good.
My college teacher, she says if somebody ever comes with like a bad attitude or says something to you or something, and she's like, just look at it and be like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
She goes, it's about them.
Yeah.
It's something that they're dealing with, something that they have going on. She goes, so your response should just be respectful, just be nice, be the good part of their day.
Yeah.
When everything's
Right.
going
When
wrong,
everything
be
else
like,
is
You have
be
no
nice.
idea what.
And that's coming from my teacher, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
like
okay. So how much more should we as
I know,
as
yeah,
believers
it really
be
like
able
put
to
it
do
in
that?
Who are having a
perspective.
good day.
Yeah.
You know, we shouldn't.
Like, we should always strive to like just be nice. I feel like kindness can go such a long way, especially
absolutely.
if people can see it.
We should be a reflection of Jesus Christ. Not only that, but we're representing our church.
Exactly.
Right.
And then the name of our church is what? Jubilee.
Yeah, right.
And we're always mad and stuff.
They go to Jubilee, they're the people that
like, yeah, like we give them an attitude. Oh, by the way, will you come to church with me?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
really? But no, I think yeah, we should be able to do that. But at the same time, is our focus should be also, especially with our coworkers and stuff, like
of course.
building those relationships. You know, like I said, I work with younger guys in early 20s, 22, 23. And then I think one of them was like 26, the other one was like 27. So they're young, you know, they're single, and so they know who I am, they know what I believe, and they know where I stand. But more than anything, they know that they can call me at any time of the day, and I'm gonna be there for them. And that's how it should be. It's like building that relationship, and understanding that, you know, we were meant for this, we were created for this. But then there are those moments that we can't be afraid if God put something in our heart to go and minister to somebody,
Right.
and just, hey, why don't you come to church with me? I always pray, God, open a door that we can invite somebody. Give me a door of utterance where I can speak and declare, you know, your gospel. We should be praying for those opportunities.
That's good.
So how would you deal with rejection?
Man, rejection don't bother me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sorry.
for me.
No, I learned a long time ago, I'm not going to give people that power over me.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
it's
going to
good.
let them control my feelings and my emotions. I've been rejected a lot of times, more times than I wanted to. Does it hurt? Absolutely, it hurts. But at the same time, it's like, why am I going to sit here and,
Right.
especially if it's somebody I don't know and they're rejected,
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, I didn't know you anyway. It hurts more when it's people that you love and you care. And, you know, like I said, rejection is just part of life.
right.
But at the same time, it's like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, you can't really do anything.
yeah.
You can't
Right.
do
Do you
anything
keep
about it.
trying after that? Or
Now
you
it depends. Are we talking about rejection in general, or rejection like when inviting people or working with people?
like that. Like trying to be friends with them, and then they
Yeah.
know that you go to church. They know that you're a Christian, so they're just like, nah, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I think different things come to my mind as like, okay, maybe they're going through something right now. Maybe they're dealing with something, or whatever the case may be. So just understanding, being sensible or sensitive to that whatever need they may have is. But at the same time, I do want them to know, like, hey, man, I'm here. I'm still here. Right. Like, it's not gonna push. It's not gonna change. But it's just being tactical. It's like, okay, there's a reason. I'll try again another time and see what happens. Maybe they're in a different season in their life. Right. But I thought you were talking about just in general, like rejection. People rejecting you. Like, no, that stuff is like whatever.
Oh well.
Yeah. What can
you
I
don't
do?
like me? Get in line. No,
Take a number.
Yeah.
No, I've never, people's opinions and people's feelings about me is like, it is what it is, and some of it may be legitimate, but I'll work on it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just the other stuff is like, I can't control it.
And the thing is, like, when it comes to rejection or people not liking you and things like that, like, there is no way that you can make sure that everybody likes you. Like, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like you. There's always going to be something that you're not doing right in other people's eyes.
And that was, of course, again, going back to growing up in a preacher's home, rejection was part of our life, and never being able to please everybody. That's just part of that, and so that's why I said that it never bothers me now, or it doesn't bother me now, because it did when I was a kid, and it messed with me a lot. Seeing how my dad was treated and how my parents were treated, and how that affected my brothers and I, and I was like, it bothered me so much. But then later on, I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna give people that power over me to control how I feel, and control my life based on how they think about me. But then again, at the same time, it's like sometimes God uses that rejection to keep me and protect me for certain things that I don't need or that I didn't need. There were times I wanted to be accepted by certain people, and they rejected me, and God was like, hey, I was protecting you for a reason. They rejected you for a reason, because he knew that had I been accepted by those people, it was going to lead to another path. Right. And so sometimes you're like, oh, thank God I was rejected.
And we've talked about that. Like, it's like Pastor says, like a heavenly perspective. Mm-hmm. We look at what in the moment, what was like, why this, why that, and then like once time has passed, it's back. Like, oh no, like, thank you, Lord, like you kept me.
Yeah.
Like what seemed right in the moment wasn't what God wanted for me. Wasn't what you look back and he's like, he kept me from certain things.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for many rejections that I had in my life. Yeah. I wouldn't be where I am now had it not been for those rejections. So
rejections are kind of very Christ-like, because the word says that they first hated Jesus, and then they're gonna hate us too. Yeah. If we are like Jesus. Yeah. I heard a podcast of Brother Chris Green, and he's a pastor now, I guess, at Austin. But he said that he has this. He told his church that he wants a year of rejection, and that he should worship. We should praise and worship every time we get rejected. And I think that just reminded me of that, because that's the funniest thing, but also the most.
Yeah.
Well, I think about it this way. We're talking about God opening and closing doors. Rejection is just another door that God has shut. And sometimes He has to slam it in your face. Right there for you to see it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's ever a bad thing. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because like you said, sometimes what can you do about it?
And nothing. You can't. Nothing. But
go on.
Now, when it comes to getting rejected by like people that you're trying to reach, how do you learn to connect with people? Because I feel like I try so hard. Like I'm like, I want to say the right things. Like, how can I get them to come? Like, there's sometimes like I see you and I'm like, bro, this guy's like, he's just like, oh, what's up? Like, come and like, and like people like listen to you. I'm like, how do you get that? Because like for a long time, I was trying to invite someone every single day, and I was like, I've given out how many invitations, and not one person has stepped through, you know? And I was telling one of my friends this, and he was like, don't be discouraged. He's like, the Bible says to knock the dust off your boots and go to the next town, go to the next city, like just move on. And I'm like, I need to move on. I need to go on to the next person. But what do I change so that this person may come? And I may not be doing anything wrong, but it's like, how can I be more impactful? How can I?
Yeah, again, to me, that's again, you can ask this question to 10 people and 10 people are going to give you the different answer, right?
Right.
So for me, it's like, don't get so caught up in how many invitations you're doing and the fact that nobody's coming. Because we've all been there. We've all invited so many people. I've been at this job for 2 years and I've invited them for 2 years to come and none of them have shown up. But at the same time, I know that the seed has been planted.
Right.
Some plant the seed, some water the seed. God's the one that gives the increase, right? And so I always tell people, you keep planting that seed. There's going to come somebody else in another season of life where they're going to water that seed that you planted. And it may take years.
Right.
But our job, that's all we can do,
Just
right?
put forth the effort.
Yeah, just put the effort, plant that seed in there, keep being a friend to them, keep being friendly. There's people that you're going to probably have the same conversation with them. Hey, bro, how are you? Good, how are you? Great. And then that's it. And you'll probably have that conversation with them for 3-4 months, 6 months. Same words, same handshake, and you just go on your way.
Mm-hmm.
But then that moment will come where we're like, so, tell me about you.
Yeah.
After 6 months of saying what's up, now that door's been open to have some kind of conversation with them, right?
Sometimes it just takes time.
It just takes time, and again, it's just keep inviting people, keep talking to them, keep being friendly. I that's just my approach to people. It's just that. It's just gonna keep being friendly, keep shaking their hand, keep talking to them, and if an opportunity arises where I can find something that I can connect with them, then I'll try to take that opportunity and go through that door and find a way to connect with them. It's a little difficult when it's people you see every day, because you do have to be more intentional about that. It's not just like, I'm never going to see this person again, or maybe a few weeks before I see them again. But it's just going back to being intentional about building that relationship.
Right. So, what lessons do you think, or what lessons have you learned in your spiritual walk with God that you still live by to this day?
Oh, man, so many. I don't have the time to go through them.
Pick one.
I'll give you one that I feel it should be applied into everything. Ability without accountability becomes a disability. Ability without accountability becomes a disability. I feel like we have to be accountable to somebody. And of course, I'm talking based on experience. Because it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how well you can preach. It doesn't matter how well you can run an organization or a job position or whatever the case may be. If you're not accountable to somebody, then it becomes a place where you can be disabled by so many things and can lead to a path of destruction if not careful. And so for me, it's like, okay, I have to be accountable. Finding those moments where you have to be vulnerable with somebody to understand, like, hey, I need you. That's where we have pastors. That's where we have leaders. That's where we have people in our lives that we should be able to lean on, to be able to learn from other people's mistakes and hold yourself accountable to not get to a place where you do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because we all mess up, right? We all have our fallings. We all have our shortcomings. There's nobody perfect. We all have things and secrets in our life that perhaps nobody may know, or maybe you have public failings or fallings, or maybe you have things that you committed that people did find out about, and now you have to deal with those moments. And so to me, it's like learning how to, number one, deal with those, and then learning how to be accountable for those things. I feel like that's kind of like what helps, especially at a young age for you guys. Like, man, if I can just be accountable to somebody, find that one person you can trust, that you can rely on, and be like, hey, I need your help, man. I'm struggling right now. Like, I need your help. Finding, your voice to be able to reach out, and as a man, just say, man, I need help. Because as men, we don't like asking for help.
Right.
As men, we don't like to admit that we're struggling. As men, we don't like to say, I need. If I could be honest with you guys, I feel like that's something that I had to learn in these last 2 years. is reaching out for help. Because I grew up, in the Mexican culture, you're a macho, you're a man. Men don't cry, men don't say I love you, men don't reach out for help. Like you're a man,
Right.
And I learned to deal even when I was going through some trauma and stuff when I was a kid at 12 years old. I never shared anything with my parents because I just felt like, hey, I can't deal with this publicly. Things that I have to deal with on my own. I didn't share things with. There are things that I went through when I was a kid that my parents didn't find out about it till 2 years ago. Yeah. There's abuse and trauma that I had to deal with that nobody knew about. I didn't know how to express it. I didn't know how to share it. I didn't know how to talk to people. It went to 2 years ago where I finally met with a counselor and I was able to learn how to open up and share those things. And I'm like, man, I've been carrying these things since I was 12 years old, and now I'm finally releasing it, right? It's like, what in the world? Like, I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to reach out to somebody, and so now here we are. And to me, it's like it has affected me in so many ways, but it has also helped me learn and helped me grow to where I can be open and I can be real, not just with myself, but with my family, with my spouse, with my kids, with my pastor. When pastor comes, hey, how are you doing? How are you truly doing? Instead of just saying, I'm good, pastor. No, I can really say, hey, pastor, this is what I'm going through. And understanding that he can help me, because now I have somebody that I can be accountable to, right? Now I have somebody. And so that affects my spiritual walk with God, because now I'm not dealing with the things I used to deal with. Now I'm not struggling with the things I'm struggling with. Now it's like, okay, Lord, here I am. I feel like all that affects our spiritual. So one of the lessons that I have learned is just how to be open with myself and how to be open with people and just how to be real, but also how to ask for help.
Right.
Like, Lord, I'm struggling. Yeah, God knows, but God has placed people in my life to help me too, right?
Right.
Why can't I depend on them?
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing this life thing by myself, and I shouldn't have to be. And that applies to people. I want people to know that I'm here for you as well, right? Because somebody was there to pick me up when I fell.
Right.
If somebody hadn't shown up to pick me up, I wouldn't be sitting right here right now. But somebody came when I needed them the most, and they said, hey, I know what you did. I know what happened, but I'm going to pull you up because your story is not over. It's not finished here. It's not going to end here. And so now it's like, I want to be able to do the same for others. Like, hey, you may be struggling with something, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's sickness, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm here for you, man. Like, I truly, when I say we are better together, it's not just a saying. It should be part of our mission, part of our thing, that we are better together.
That's good.
And so that's kind of one of the latest lessons I've learned.
I like that.
It's just being open with yourself, being accountable to somebody, trusting God, and then just realize that your past does not dictate your future. Right. We all have a past.
Yeah.
Some people may know the past, some people may not know the past, but we all have a past.
That's right.
There's things we've done that were done in secret. There's things that we've done that are public. But we cannot allow our past mistakes to dictate our future. We can't allow our past to anchor us in our present and keep us from moving forward. We've got to learn to let go of the past and just move forward. Because I believe that God makes all things new.
Yeah.
When there's a truly repentant spirit, when there's truly you get to a true place of like, you know what, I'm done with this, and you decide to turn your life around, then that's when God's like, hey, it's over. And so I think that's another lesson that I just threw in there, but it kind of just goes hand in hand with that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So what about those people who, like you were talking about moving forward, talking about accountability. What about those people who have been hurt by the people in the church? How can they find that accountability
Yeah.
and true forgiveness? You know.
Man, that's a good question. Here's the deal. I've been hurt by church people. You've been hurt by church people, but at the same time, I have hurt church people. And there's moments where you may have to hurt church people. Hurt is part of what we do as humans.
Right.
We're humans, and so a lot of times, whether intentional or not, we hurt people or we get hurt by people. And we have to be able to understand, number one, when that hurt came to us, why did it happen? How did it happen? And it's not understanding as far as like trying to get answers necessarily, but just trying to think of what took place, right? And many times in those moments, we don't have a true answer or a real answer. It's just we're humans and it happens. I've learned when people have hurt me, just not to hold on to it. Because if he died for our sins and he forgave us,
Right.
then who am I to not forgive? Right? And not only that, I've learned that when we hold on to those hurts, all it's doing is hindering my future. You know, because you may have hurt me and you may have already asked God to forgive you. You may have already moved on from all that. And now you're living a free life, but yet I'm still holding on to that hurt. Who's the one hurting, me or you?
Yeah.
I'm hurting. And I've got a tight grip on this hurt that I'm not allowing God to do what he wants to do in my life, and that's heal me. Right? Because he came to heal the brokenhearted. It's what the scripture says. Right? And so I have learned, God, I've got to forgive. But then on the flip side is, I have to learn how to ask for forgiveness as well. And that's understanding that sometimes you do hurt people, whether intentional or not, whether it was through your actions or it was through your words or it was through whatever the case may be, is somebody got hurt and then I have to find a way to ask for forgiveness. And there's been times where I've asked for forgiveness and that forgiveness wasn't given to me. But guess what? I did my part. I can't help that situation. I've done what God has asked me to do, because the Bible says that if you have something against your brother, you feel like somebody has something against you, to do what? Before you offer sacrifice, what? You go and talk to them.
Yeah, that's good.
You go and fix it. So how can I come and offer sacrifice if I still know somebody's got something against me or I have something against them? Forgiveness is not about setting them free. Forgiveness is about setting you free.
That's really good.
And so I want to be set free from everything.
Right.
And so I pray, God, forgive me, number one, for everything. And then, Lord, if there's people in life that I have to ask for forgiveness, God, help me to find a way to ask. There are still people that I wish I could just say, man, forgive me for everything that I've done. And there's people that I wish I could tell them, man, I forgive you for everything you've done. And I have. And I truly have. And not only that, but just forget too, because a lot of times we forgive, but yet we want to hold on to what they did to us.
Not true forgiveness.
True forgiveness is truly letting go of it. Imagine if God said, yeah, I forgive you your sins, but then next week he's like, oh yeah, but you remember when you did that? Right? So do you forgive me or not?
Like I get that, but God literally has the ability to completely remove it.
No, and the Bible says that he chooses to forget.
Yes, but once he's chosen it, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
and
God
in
has
humans
removed
is different, right?
Yeah.
Because we're emotional, we have that. And so, yeah, we'll have a moment of worship service and altar kind of like, oh, yeah. And then I forgive you. But then 2 weeks later, our human emotions kick in. And now we're remembering everything that we did. But are we being Christ-like? I mean, that's where you have to truly work at it. That's where it's truly...
kind of it's almost like constant forgiveness. Because it's like, I've forgiven you here. But like you said, our flesh or humanity is sometimes it just comes back up, or it just and it just comes to mind.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to just, it's already been forgiven. It's already done, and kind of just let it be.
Yeah.
Now, like, what do you do if you've now forgiven, but other people still treat you like you haven't?
I mean, that's hard because
it's like
what for me, to me, it's like, hey, now that's between you and God.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, if you have truly forgiven and you have come to them and you have asked for forgiveness and yet they want to treat you a certain way, then I'm sorry, but you're not being Christ-like then. Now you're having an issue, and that's going to be between you and God, because I've done my part. I did what I had to do. And I'll just keep praying, God, just help me and help them. And then, but also just making sure that you don't get to a place of bitterness.
Right.
And hold on to that, because now that can become also a grudge. Like, why they should treat. This goes back to what I was saying, man. Like, it doesn't matter to me how people treat me. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
That might not be the right attitude, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, I prayed, God help me forgive, and I have asked for forgiveness. And if they say they forgive me, but they treat me a certain way, who's in the wrong here?
Yeah.
And so I'll just keep praying for them.
Like you can only do your best.
Yeah,
right?
you can only do so much, man. At the end of the day, you can only do so much. The rest has to be just pray for them. Pray that they get polio or something. When I can just make content and be an influencer on YouTube and post a bunch of reels so I can get thousands of views and make money that way. Like, that's what everybody wants to do.
Right.
Right? It's no longer about actually trying to help people out. It's no longer about, it's just look what I can do.
Yeah.
Look at me. You know, I feel like that has been a negative thing for our generation. It's hard. I talk to a lot of builders, and everybody's like, man, nobody wants to work. There's work out there. Nobody wants to work because everybody's looking for the easy money. Everybody's looking for the quick money. Nobody wants to put in the effort. I think that's kind of hurting us right now with our generation, like today's generation. Right. Then of course respect's out the window. Respect for authority, respect for, it's just like, man, it's a different times. I remember when we were afraid of our coaches. I remember when we were afraid, not necessarily afraid of police officers, but we respected the authority of them. We were afraid of our parents. We were afraid of, man, I seen a little kid the other day just talking back to mom, and I was like, dude, like, you're 3.
I would have been popped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, you can't, because, you know, you got, what is it? You got to let them express themselves.
Get out of here.
Come on. And all that's been influenced by social
media.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? So just praying for our generation, for this generation.
And to that point, what's the best thing that you could tell somebody growing up in this generation? Like,
be you. Like, don't be afraid to let society dictate who you're gonna be. I'll tell people, man, let's hold on to some of the values that were instilled for you know, some of our elders, like respect authority, develop a work ethic. Nothing's handed down to us. You know, I would tell our generation today is don't fall into the trap of what society is pushing today. You know, hold on to the values of what it means to be a family and a man of God in this world, or a woman of God, whoever it may be, and just be who God has called us to be. Stand out. When nobody else wants to stand up, and like truly make somebody out of yourself. To me, I guess work ethic is one of the big ones too. It's like, man, I think we're having a lazy generation too. That's just based on what I see. You know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Just lazy. So
like, even in myself, like, I have to be like, what are you doing? Like, you're doing nothing. Get up and do something. Do something, man. Do something that's like, how do you call it? Productive. Do, like, you know, because like growing up, I kind of was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, you know. And like now I'm like, I'm sick of doing nothing. Like, it's such a bad thing to get out of. It's kind of hard, but it's like you have to be, like, with so many things, intentional. You have to put forth the effort. You have to put, like, I may be this way, but I don't gotta be this way.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. No, being productive, man. I think that's key right there. Contribute to society.
Yeah, do something.
Contribute to our world today. And again, like I tell Isaac all the time, man, I don't want you to be the best. Just I want you to give your best and do something.
Right.
Do something. Be productive. Be a good, outstanding citizen.
It's hard for him sometimes.
Yeah, no.
Go to jail.
Like seriously, like don't do something stupid. Just, but no, and just be somebody that people can be like, you know what, I'm thankful for you.
All right.
You know, whether it's at work, at school, especially in our church, like just be somebody that people like truly be like, you know what, I'm so glad you're on this earth.
Yeah, like I've heard Pastor say this once. He was like, be the person people want to be around.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously, it's as simple as that. That's really all there is to it. Be somebody that people just want to be with, and you don't want to be the person nobody wants to hang around with.
Right.
So
I guess we're ready to close. We're gonna give you 5-minute quick fire questions. Just
quick
5
fire,
minutes.
just
quick
whatever
fire,
comes
just
to
quick,
my mind.
Whatever comes.
Yeah. So last
Okay.
meal, what would it be?
Last meal. Oh, that's a hard one, bro. 'Cause I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
That's not a quick fire, man. I can sit and create a whole menu, bro. If it was one of the last meals, like ethnic or like specific.
Just specific.
This last meal on like the
On
last thing
Earth.
you're gonna eat.
Tacos, man. It has to be straight up
Is
street
there
tacos.
specific?
Yes.
Like,
Asada or al pastor, like. If it's gonna be my last one, I'm gonna die happy. So, bring me like 3 of each meat out there.
Next one. Have you ever had anything funny happen to you while you were in ministry?
Oh yeah, I can't share
What's
it
the
though.
I can't do it.
What's the funniest one that you can share?
The funniest one that I can share. This one was pretty funny. Because the other one I cannot share. But doing a wedding, and I was actually playing the piano, and as I'm doing the march, the candle's right next to me. Literally, like, okay, so I'm playing here, right, and they have trees, and there's a candle right here in front of me that they use for decor, and I was hiding behind the candles because I guess I wasn't pretty enough, and so I'm playing, and the candle that's here decides to catch the tree on fire, and so I'm playing, and I'm like trying to blow it. Now, of course, I don't want to disrupt anything, and the more I blow, the fire starts going up the
Oh
tree.
no. So then what? You just keep blowing?
No, somebody finally came and like started putting it out. But at first I was like freaking out, but then I was laughing. I was like, oh man, they started up in flames.
Yeah. Literally. You're like, nah, stop them.
Yeah.
Don't get
The other
married.
one too was we were at I was playing the drums and we had a lady on the keys. And this lady was how can I put it? Was rather large, let's just say, right? and so we're having one of those throwdown services, and then I'm playing drums, and it was like full speed, you know, Mexican music is like full speed, right? And then all of a sudden I hear this loud commotion and just bunch of noise, and then the sound just stops, and I look around, ladies on the floor, the piano's on the floor, bass is on the floor. She had like passed, I don't know what happened. Again, she was big, bro, and like she just collapsed, and it was steps, and she just rolled down to the altar. I was done, bro. I was done.
That's
She was just
crazy.
like sprawled out. I was like, Lord, I'm sorry, Lord.
That is
I
crazy.
did laugh on that one.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's funny.
Now we have one last question. It's kind of, I don't know. Hopefully you don't think it's a boring question. I kind of think it is, but it's okay. What is one place that you haven't been that you like want to visit? Like if you had to pick, like I guess
Anywhere
make
in
it
the world?
harder.
Anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
anywhere.
So top of my list, Spain. I want to go to Madrid, and then second is Italy, Venice,
Nice.
Venice, Italy, Italy. So Spain and Italy, my top 2.
Do you like Real Madrid?
No,
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
we're talking about soccer.
Madrid.
And then I want to go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
Shout out to half of our audience.
Shout out Manny Pacquiao.
Yes.
No, no, but I'm not joking. Like that is
Oh,
fun.
the Philippines
yeah,
is good.
Japan and the Philippines.
Just want to
would
go
be-
eat there.
I played a lot of volleyball with some Cambodians, and so that's another place. I don't know much about it, but I was like, I would love to visit Cambodia
Right.
as well. But top 2, definitely Spain and Italy. And then third one would probably be like Africa somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Be cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's really good, man. I think it's been a good conversation. We are about to wrap it up. But man, it was so good. Thank you so much for letting us
thanks
have
for
you on.
having me.
Thank you for the conversation. It was so good. We have to do it again for sure.
We'll do it again
But,
sometime.
It was good, man.
No, thank you guys for having me, and it's been good just kind of talking to you guys and,
Okay, it's a
and
nice
sharing
conversation.
with y'all my opinions anyway, at least what I think.
That was
That
good.
was
That's what
great.
we want.
It
That's
was
what,
great.
that's what we're here for.
we really do appreciate your time and taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
Being our
Thank you guys.
first guest. First guest.
Iconic.
Honored.
Appreciate it.
That's good.